okay? But with these raises, we're going to have to come up, depending on where we're going to settle, because we did have a number in mind, but it's going to be an additional $346,000 to $551,000 in the year 2025. And that's going to continue to compound. That's my fear. I have to look out for everybody. I have to look out for the employees as well as the residents. You know, nobody wants to go over the tax cap here. Everybody's admitted that. The other thing that this did was I had to pull the ARPA funds because the board outvoted. It was earmarked for the water lines on Erie Street. We had a ban for $1.35 million a couple of weeks ago. Again, it was really used for, it was supposed to be for one-time cost. What if we didn't get those ARPA funds? So to me, it's a bit of a false indication. Again, first and foremost, I met with these employees. They work very hard for their money. You know, our police department during COVID was all out there. I was always in favor of trying to get them a little bit more anyway, but I don't feel that we're financially being fiscally responsible by stretching ourselves like this. I don't know what this is going to do to us in the future. And the other thing I keep bringing up is that we have to plan for what's going to happen in 10 years. Okay, we continue because the merger we did, which was a great thing, it helped the village, but we get their tax revenue. And it's estimated, that's over $1 million right now. It's estimated in the year 2033 when that runs out, and we're getting 100% of it now. It's estimated that it's going to be between 1.2 and 1.5 million. I'm trying to plan. I tried planning by keeping $100,000 under the tax cap. Resolutions were put through and took us down to where we're like $3,000 under the cap. What are you going to do if we continue spending the tax cap in the year 2033? And you get hit with a $1.2 to $1.5 million decrease. It's not easy to make up. Something's going to blow. That's just my comment.
There is future negotiation with the village, correct? That can be done?
No, that's a closed contract.
It was a closed contract,
Yeah.
okay. But within this budget, there were percentages already built in for raises. And the ARPA funds had changed where we could use that for our employees within the town. And we do have, didn't we get 2 payments? What was the first
The
payment?
first one went towards a water line project.
So we used that for the
second one
water
was
line.
earmarked for the other one, and then
But again, it was
The board-
earmarked before we had asked about what it was. That second ARPA funds, we didn't, as a collective team here, vote on those funds to be for the water, because that was already done. That was in 2021 that happened. And we decided that the best interest for the town and its employees to use the ARPA funds for them. And keep some back also for the taxpayers. And just look at the last storm we had and what they went through to keep you safe. And that's what we looked at as well. So that's what we looked at when we decided to use those ARPA funds for the men and women of this town that work for us.
and using it as a bonus would have been a nice thing. A bonus, it's a one-time shot. But where are you going to get this extra funds in 2025? ARPA's no longer here, and you have to expend it by the end of 2024. That's what I'm saying. There's no more free-fall money coming. That's my concern. Again, I'm looking out for the finances of the town. It's just my thought, and again, like I said, it's not, I always said that we have very hard-working people in this town. I'm proud of all the workers, but I want to keep them all employed too. You know, we are short-staffed in a lot of areas because we don't have the money to expend on employees. But we keep doing stuff like this, we're going to short ourselves some more. I don't want to do that to these people.
Okay.
So that's it.
This MOA, which will be incorporated into this 5-year contract between the two parties, will be the first fully completed contract that we have had between the town and the police department in over a decade. And the money we're going to save by not going through the attorneys is going to be fairly significant, okay? It is a good contract. It is a fair contract for both the police department and the residents of the town of Lancaster. This agreement is the combination of hard work and meaningful negotiations for both the Cayuga Club Negotiating Committee and the members of this town board. I'd like to thank all the members of the Cayuga Club Negotiating Committee who took part in these negotiations. We got various perspectives and ideas from all of them as to what issues needed to be resolved, to finalize an agreement, and through numerous conversations and over months and months, we were able to get this done. I would also like to thank the other members of this town board who participated in these negotiations and recognize Town Attorney Tom Fowler for putting in the long hours to put this agreement to paper. As a board member and a resident of this great town, I want to thank the Lancaster Police Department for their professionalism, dedication, and bravery that they exhibit on a daily basis in keeping our community safe. God bless you, and be safe.
On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
110% yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Again, not that it's not deserved, but I can't vote for this due to the financial impact it's going to cause the town. No. Councilmember Burkhart, number 19.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I'm offering resolution number 19 for adoption. Whereas the Bowmansville Volunteer Fire Association, by letter received January 12, 2023, has requested the addition of 2 members and the deletion of 2 members to the roster of said fire association. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby confirms the addition to the membership of the Bowmansville Volunteer Fire Association the following individuals: Austin Calloway and Robert Calloway. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby confirm the deletions to the membership of the Bowman's Volunteer Fire Association the following individuals: James Safe and Brianna Safe.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes, I'd like to move resolution number 20. Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves as presented the agreement for the leave of absence between the town, the CSEA White Collar Union, and Connor O'Brien. Be it further resolved, Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 21.
Mr. Supervisor and Allenburg Town Board, I offer up Resolution 21 for adoption. Whereas John Pilato, Highway Superintendent of the Town of Lancaster, by letter dated December 20th, 2022, has requested authorization for the Highway Superintendent and the Deputy Highway Superintendent to attend the 2023 New York State Association of Towns Training and Annual Meeting in New York from February 19th to the 22nd, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that John Pilato, Highway Superintendent, and Michelle Barbaro, Deputy Highway Superintendent of the Town of Lancaster Highway Department, are hereby authorized to attend the 2023 Association of Towns Training and Annual Meeting in New York, New York, February 19th through the 22nd, 2023. Be it further resolved that the total cost of attendance at the above-mentioned training course is hereby authorized in the amount not to exceed $1,400 per person for the actual and necessary expenses, including the cost of registration, lodging, travel, cab fares, and meals for 4 days on the specified dates of training. And be it further resolved that all requests for reimbursement must be presented in the form of original itemized receipts for actual and necessary expenses upon submission of proper documentation to the Finance Director of the Town of Lancaster.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Leary, number 22.
Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following resolution for adoption. Whereas the Deputy Highway Superintendent of the Town of Lancaster has notified the town board that the package terminal air conditioning PTAC unit needs to be replaced at the Lancaster Library located at 5466 Broadway, and whereas she has obtained a quote from Horbert Heating and Cooling in the amount of $3,000 in accordance with the Town of Lancaster's procurement policy, and whereas by letter dated January 4, 2023, the Deputy Highway Superintendent has recommended that the Town of Lancaster accept Horbert Heating and Cooling's proposal dated December 7, 2022, in the amount of $3,000, with funding for this replacement being available in the town's 2022 buildings, contractual expenses, and miscellaneous budget line. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the supervisor to accept the proposal dated December 7th, 2022, from Horbert Heating and Cooling on Genesee Street in Cheektowaga, New York, to replace the package terminal air conditioning PTAC unit at the Lancaster Library located at 5466 Broadway for an amount not to exceed $3,000, and which will be paid for with the funds available from the town's 2022 Buildings Contractual Expense Miscellaneous Budget line, pending receipt of a revised proposal with the required verbiage included.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 23. Now therefore be it resolved that, number one, sealed bids be received by the town clerk up to 10 a.m. local time on February 7, 2023 for meeting the requirements of the Town of Lancaster 2023 tree planting program for supplying trees in accordance with specs on file in the town's clerk office. And two, the town clerk being is hereby authorized to have a notice to bidders and nurserymen published in the Lancaster Bee and to have said notice posted as required by law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made part of. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, 24 and 25.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town of Lancaster previously entered into agreement with Penn Power Systems to provide inspection and maintenance services for 7 generators located within various town buildings, and whereas said contract is set to expire according to its terms on January 31st, 2023, and whereas by email dated January 10th, 2023, the Deputy Highway Superintendent has requested to continue the agreement for inspection and preventive maintenance services for the 7 generators with Penn Power Systems for another 2-year period. And whereas the renewal agreement has been reviewed by the Town Attorney's Office and a revision has been requested regarding the indemnification coverage, and whereas funding for the service is available from the town's buildings miscellaneous contractual services budget line item 01-1620-411. Now therefore be it resolved that pending receipt of the revised renewal agreement, which will be incorporate removal of the last sentence of the paragraph D on page 2 of the renewal agreement, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster will authorize the supervisor to execute said revised renewal agreement between the Town of Lancaster and Penn Power Systems to continue to provide preventive maintenance and inspection services to the generators located within the highway building and storage building, OEM building, garage, police department, senior center, and town hall, and be it further resolved, the cost of the services provided under this agreement shall not exceed $4,998 per year and will be paid for with funds available from the town's buildings miscellaneous contractual services budget commencing February 1st, 2023 and terminating January 31st, 2025.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, off the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas on January 19th, 2021, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster approved the site plan submitted by Mike Metzger of Metzger Civil Engineering on behalf of Lancaster Parkway Commercial Development for the proposed construction of an 11,400 square foot high bay storage building to be utilized for internet distribution service, dental supply storage, healthcare, video production, and lease space for 6 small commercial businesses with additional site improvements to include service utilities to serve the building as well as asphalt pavement and stormwater management infrastructure located at 9 Lancaster Parkway in the town of Lancaster. Whereas due to hardships and uncertainties brought on by the COVID pandemic, constructed was not initiated, and Mike Metzger has now requested that the town board grant an extension to the site plan approval per his letter dated January 9th, 2023. Whereas the Town Code, Section 400-75D9, provides that the Town Board may grant a one-time, 1-year extension for the commencement of the development from the date of approval of the site plan, and whereas the Town Board's liaison to the Planning Board has requested that the requirement of Planning Board approval for the extension request 400-75D9-4 be waived, and whereas the Town Board has given due review and consideration to the request for the extension, Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Lancaster, using the authority granted to it under Section 475D9, does hereby extend a one-time, one-year extension for the site plan previously approved for Mike Metzger of Metzger Engineering on behalf of Lancaster Parkway Commercial Development for the proposed construction of 11,400 square foot high bay storage building to be utilized for internet distribution services, dental supply, storage, healthcare, video production, and lease space for 6 small commercial businesses with additional site improvements to include service utilities to serve the building, as well as asphalt pavement and stormwater management infrastructure to commence January 19, 2023, and terminate January 18, 2024. And be it further resolved that all terms and conditions which are recited in the original Town Board resolution approving the site plan on January 19, 2021 shall remain in effect, and any updated Lancaster Town Code, county, state, and/or federal regulations which are currently applicable are to be included relative to the granting of this extension.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Leary, the necessary rules?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I'm requesting a suspension of the necessary rules for immediate consideration of the following resolution.
May I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. All yours.
Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following suspended resolution for adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves as presented the amendments to the respective employment agreements of Chief of Police William J. Karn and Police Captain Marco A. Lorienzo, and be it further resolved that the supervisor of the town of Lancaster be and is hereby authorized to execute the respective employment agreements amendments of Chief Karn and Police Captain Marco Lorienzo on behalf of the town of Lancaster.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Move on to communications. '25, town attorney. 26 through 31, received and filed. '32, resolution tonight. 33, town attorney. 34 through 36, received and filed. 37, resolution tonight. 38, received and filed. 39 through 41, resolution tonight. 42 through, actually 46, planning committee.
I'm sorry, 42 to 46, Planning Committee?
Right. '47, resolution tonight. 48 is received and filed and resolution tonight. 49, resolution tonight. 50 through 53, received and filed. 54 is received and filed and resolution tonight. 55 through 57, planning committee. 58 and 59 are resolution tonight. 60, received and filed. 61 for resolution. And 62 and 63 is resolution tonight. Okay, anybody want to speak about anything? Second. You have a motion to go into executive session?
No.
I'm not calling on him this week, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be insulted any longer. Motion to go into executive, yes, sir.
This is the public, where the public is.
Yes,
I'd like to speak, please.
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but Since when can you deny people the opportunity to come in here and speak?
The arrogance that displayed towards me the last few times will not be tolerated
that's-
any longer.
Okay, that's your opinion, Mr. Supervisor. I think anyone who wants to speak should be allowed to speak. I mean, that's the rule.
Do we have?
Third Democratic right.
No, I stepped up for you.
Congratulations.
Okay, for this evening, I'm not going to have anybody speak. May I have a motion to go into executive session? I'm not going to sit here and get pounded every week by the same people. I'm sorry. Well, I know that you're up here with comments, but I have two people that, in that last number of meetings, first of all, one person embarrassed our assessor to the point where she will never come back here again, okay? And I'm not going to...
That was after you called the clerk a liar and the councilman a
Anyway,
liar?
can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Doesn't look like you're getting one. You want to go back to ordinary order, Mr.
I
Supervisor?
talked to our town attorney and said that I have my choice. So my choice is to not have, we're getting an executive session to take care of it.
You know, over the years, you've showed some real thin skin, Mr. Supervisor. What the clerk read, what she read at the beginning of the meeting, you should have took to heart, sir.
You're up here out of order.
We'll see you next meeting.
Thank you. Motion to go into executive session. I guess we won't have an executive session.
Well, I'd like anybody to be able to speak who needs to speak.
Well, when you have people coming up here pounding you every meeting, Adam, how do you like it?
Excuse me, I
Yeah.
remember when someone called me an hour,
So,
and you did nothing.
so we did shut it down. We did shut it down. So, we'll sit here then.
Excuse me, what happened to our democratic rights?
Go ahead, go ahead and speak. Paul, go ahead. We'll get, you can all go up. No, I'll check in the visa. Paul, go ahead.
Quite frankly, I'm first. Board members, congratulations on signing the first contract in 10 years with our police department. They are an integral part of how the success of this town will operate. Your highway department is next, and I hope you can get through that. I really do. I understand you're concerned with bills. I get it. We should be saving money. I'm a taxpayer, Ron. I get that. But there are priorities, and our police department is the very top. And I have great concern for those who can't afford their taxes, because basically none of us can because they're so high. But we in this town are owed the truth about how much it costs to run a safe and efficient town. And taking grant money over your entire career to patch holes and rainy roofs and the other thing you can get money outside is laudable, except when it comes to a leverage against our police department. Congratulations on your contract. God bless you all.
I want to comment. First, I'll commend you for being respectable. Secondly, and I agree, but we should have looked for the funds somewhere else, not with the ARPA funds, because it's going to hurt us down the road. And again, we were advised by our consultants, auditing firm, not to do this. So,
Hang on.
It's a laudable position. Priorities in a town like this, your police department, and I'm sure they're listening to you, but they don't agree with you, okay? And to send that signal from the supervisor's chair to the people that go out and put their lives on their line for us, this is not an exorbitant contract, would you say? Would you say that's an exorbitant contract?
when we first talked, we didn't have the funds available. Everybody knew that. That's why this.
That's why you turn to the taxpayers and tell them, Ron, but you're afraid to do that. The cost of this town is expensive. Give us the right information. If the taxes need to be raised, you raise them.
We do raise them every year.
Then raise them enough to pay for that police department,
That's where
sir.
you run into issues.
That's political issues. We want our police department paid properly, and they're not getting paid
It's
exorbitant.
affordability issues too for some seniors.
God bless you, okay, but that's the wrong place to save money. Go look in other places first. That's the message.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, I was part of the meeting with our auditors where they indicated the town attorney was there, the director of finance was there, and it was agreed that we could use the ARPA funds for this purpose.
But not advised. It's right in the letter they wrote to you. It's right here in writing. I read word for word.
You're listening to an auditor, usually you tell us auditors, you know, they take them with a grain of salt, so I've heard you say that.
Okay. Paul, you want to speak?
I'm sorry.
You can stay.
This is,
You can stay there.
may I, please, council members and supervisors, sit down?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I will take this. What I'm gonna speak of, some members of the, might not agree to it, but I must, I did some soul searching and I need to speak out about this. On the 3rd of January, the town business meeting, I listened to this meeting via YouTube, via live. When the meeting progressed, I called it regressed. During EBC, Brian Dullivan presentation to the down board supervisor, you quoted this. They stepped in the most difficult time year round. Obviously, we lost people. My whole office basically left. And quite honestly, thanks to you, Bob, because they were sick of being harassed by you. End quote. Town Councilman Bob Leary commented, complete lie. Then Councilman Leary quoted Ron on the record, end quote. During the public concerns moment, Mr. Greg Soka, to the supervisor, during the conversation, supervisor, quote, again, I was told by some of the employees they weren't leaving because of me. They're leaving because of the bully tactics of a council member. That's all I could say, end quote. Councilman Leary spoke out, quote, that's a total lie, end quote. Mr. Solka spoke to the supervisor, quote, you just blamed everyone leaving on Councilman Leary. Is that correct? End quote. Supervisor Ruffino responded, quote, I did that. That's what I was told by the employees. Councilman Leary responded, quote, I mean, this is utterly ludicrous. Then Councilman Leary spoke, quote, making some pretty serious allegations here, Mr. Supervisor, which need to be explored. Let me say that again, please. This is Mr. Leary making some pretty serious allegations here, Mr. Supervisor, which need to be explored. Then he kept on going, well, you're wrong and you're lying and you're playing politics, end quote. While looking into this, it was shocking. I've been to a lot of town board meetings in the past and village board meetings and such. So I worked in a big business. I know what harassment is and how we as employees had to go through harassment training and such. And I picked this up on the Town of Lancaster Harassment Prevention Policy adapted by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, New York on March 18, 2019. I will not go through the whole thing. Everybody can get this via the town's website. The Town of Lancaster, the town, is committed to maintaining a workplace free from all unlawful harassment. It gets into sexual harassment to strictly prohibited, which was not the concern here. That's almost 2 pages long. Then on the 3rd page, other types of unlawful harassment are strictly prohibited. The town's harassment prevention policy also applies to harassment based on race, color, religion, national origin, ancestry, ethnicity, age, disability, citizenship, military service, domestic violence, victim status, genetic information, or any other characteristic protected by law. Such harassment often takes a similar form to sexual harassment, include harassment that is verbal, physical, visual, online. This list is illustrative only and not exhaustive. No form of harassment will be tolerated. This is the question I have when I finish with this. Complaint and investigation procedure. Preventing unlawful harassment is everyone's responsibility. Town cannot prevent or remedy harassment unless it knows about it. Anyone who witnesses, becomes aware of, or is subject to behavior that may constitute harassment or otherwise violate this policy is strongly encouraged to immediately, that's in dark black, report such behavior to the Director of Administration and Finance or the payroll supervisor in the town supervisor's office. Reports of harassment or any other violation of this policy should be made in writing, though verbal reports will be accepted. A complaint form for the submission of reports of unlawful harassment or any other violation of this policy is included with this policy and available from the town supervisor's office. And all personnel are encouraged to use this form. If the report is verbal, the complaint will be asked to complete a written complaint form. If he or she declines, the town may prepare a complaint form based on a verbal report. All supervisors and managers who receive a report or information about, observe, or suspect any potential harassment or any other violation of this policy, this is bold, must immediately report it to the Director of Administration and Finance or the payroll supervisor. A supervisor or manager who fails to make such a report or otherwise knowingly allows sexually harassing or retaliatory behavior to continue with the subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. The town will conduct an investigation of any report or complaint of harassment or any other violation of this policy that it receives. Investigations will be conducted in a prompt and timely manner and will be confidential to the extent possible. The town will take prompt and appropriate corrective action wherever it determines that harassment or other violation of this policy has occurred. This is extremely important what I'm going to read. All persons involved, including complainants, witnesses, and alleged harassers, will be accorded due process as outlined below. While the process may vary from case to case depending on the circumstances, and the investigation of a report of harassment or other violation of this policy will generally include the following steps. Upon receipt of report of harassment or other violation of this policy, the town will conduct an immediate review of the allegations, take any appropriate interim action. Relative documents and electronic communications will be collected and reviewed. Interview the complainant, witnesses, and accused. Create confidential written documentation of the investigation. Notify the complainants and the alleged harasser and that the investigation is concluded and any other relevant information where appropriate. Implement any corrective action. All employees are required to fully cooperate with the investigation conducted under this policy. My question is this. That supervisor, you accused a sitting board member of harassment and bullying. Was the alleged harassers will be accorded due process? Mr. Leary, were you given due process?
This is really a comment session, not a question and answer.
It's still.
I'm just saying, it's a comment.
I'm just saying too, nothing was, when this came ahead, this is the documentations that I got off of, it's called the Town of Lancaster Complaint Form. Were the 4 members that resigned office, were any of them, did anybody do these forms, Mr. Supervisor?
I'm not aware of them. And that's, really,
That's a major issue.
okay, so,
That's a major issue. You were saying to, on that date, to Mr. Leary that people resigned their office because of his bullying, his harassment, and he wasn't given due process and nothing was reported. New York state law, that's a big-time no-no. In my place of business, people got fired for that. And I work for one of the world's biggest corporations in West New York. So in regards to Councilman Leary's statement, possibly, which is true, what I read, what he said, quoted, there's a possibility of a civil suit of slander. Slander is an untrue, defamatory statement that is spoken orally. Supreme Court enacted the role that a statement against a public figure is liable only if it is known to be false or the speaker has a reckless disregard for the truth when making it. That meeting was, I've never seen anything like it. Even I've been to large union meetings that I belong to, one of the biggest locals in the
How long are we gonna let this?
and I never heard such a thing.
Paul, yeah. Thank you. 5 minutes. Let you go.
Anybody else want to speak?
Any response from anybody, council, supervisor?
I think at this point in time, I'm not going to offer any other response, and I've not been approached by anybody that there's any type of investigation against me for harassment or anything else at this point. So that's all I got.
Mr. Fowler, as a town attorney, what you just heard, as a town attorney, you know what's wrong during this whole period of time. When someone gets accused of that, you as attorney, were you approached by either the supervisor about any incident involving anybody on the city board member?
I'll put it to you this way. If I was approached, I would not tell you anyways,
Exactly.
because it could very well still be, if I was approached, an ongoing investigation. I can't confirm or deny that, I just can't.
Then there's got to be a special counsel to investigate this, because this happened such a long period of time ago. There was no written documentation about anything that was Mr. Leary was accused of by any of the four individuals, and I have their names, but I won't bring them up because it's nonsense. But no individuals ever even named, nothing. But the accusation could be detrimental for Mr. Leary and his personal public. And also to you, supervisor, for accusing someone without even giving them counsel first. You can't do that publicly. That's public smearing. And by the way, I'm not a Republican, and I'm not a Democrat. And I don't care about politics. When they get dirty like this, it's pathetic. Thank you.
I wish I had your demeanor. The supervisor would have let me speak longer. It's exactly why I asked you, when you accused him of harassment, that wasn't that against the law? And you remember that, don't you? I asked you from that seat, that's against the law. And that was your job, if you thought that was true. Exactly what he said is true right down the line.
Anybody else like to speak? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive
For a
session.
second.
Second.
On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes.
I'll tell Brian or Tom.
Yeah, tell him. Keep his eye on. No, keep his eye on.
I will.
I know, no, because there is, yeah, it doesn't, it's its own fund. Developers fund that themselves.